Today is November 15, 2016. The Lawrence Board of Zoning Appeals is called to order at this time. At this moment, I'm going to have the attorney speak. We have a quorum, but there's only 3 of us. So we're short 3 members. So.
Okay, since the board has 5 members, it takes a majority of that 5, which is 3, to have a quorum, but it also takes the same majority to take any action, which means tonight you have to get 3 votes. And if there's only 3 members, you have to get all 3 votes, otherwise you'll be automatically continued. I would recommend that you might want to consider just asking for a continuance if you have better odds, if there's more than 3, but that would be up to the petitioners. But you do need all 3 votes.
I'll add to that if for some reason you don't get a unanimous vote, it would automatically be continued to the December hearing. So you could still be heard tonight, try for the unanimous vote. If it doesn't come back unanimous, you would automatically be continued to the next hearing.
We just want to make everyone aware of how it works tonight, okay? I need a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes from October 18th.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. I didn't vote because I was not here for the October meeting. If you have not done so, please sign in the back of the room. Anyone wishing to speak tonight, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Answer with I do.
I do.
Thank you. Do we have any special requests tonight, continuance, withdrawals, or waivers?
Petition 16 LUSV 15 for 8103 East 45th Street. They are requesting a waiver of the rules for notice. The notice deadline was 10/24/16. They had sent notice out by that date and realized that they had put the wrong date on the public notice that was mailed and then remailed them on 11/4 with the correct date. So we'll need a motion and then a second and a vote to waive the rules for notification, please.
I make the motion, we waive the rules.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed have the same option of nay. You have been granted the waiver for your notices. We have no old business. We'll go to new business. 16 LUV 13, 6351 Oaklandon Road. A variance of use of the Consolidated Zoning and Subdivision Ordinance to provide for a dog grooming operation. Anyone here for this petition?
Oh, I forgot to turn it around.
I thought you were just trying to confuse me, which is easy. And I was going to do it myself until I made sure.
There we go.
All right, perfect. Good evening, members of the board, council, Ms. Rafala. I'm Will Gooden with offices at 320 North Meridian Street, Indianapolis, representing the petitioner Megan Lorena on this petition for variance of use for the establishment of a dog grooming and bathing facility. We have filed subject to a plan of operation, as staff has indicated and has recommended approval on, subject to that plan of operation. The plan of operation has been filed and has made a commitment of this petition and condition on the grant of the variance. Ms. Lorena will operate Golden Days LLC for a business to professionally groom and bathe pets. This petition is, as I said, a variance of use. There is as we filed with the petition and provided for the file this evening, the exception for the allowance of the 6-foot fence in this particular area where the business will be located at 6351 Oaklandon Road. The plan of operation also includes, as you will see, the site. The site description, Ms. Lorena is the owner of 6351 Oak Landon Road. This is a single-family home with a large detached garage. There are 2 public streets and an alley, so it is surrounded by public rights-of-way on 3 sides. This petition will not require any exterior renovations or expansions, and there are no signs planned or needed. Again, this will be for the purpose of operating a dog bathing and grooming facility. There is a fenced area that will be secure for use in staging, if you will, and dropping off the animals to receive the services. The petitioner will be maintaining and escorting the animals into the area where they will be bathed and groomed, and the animals will then be again picked up by their owners in this area. There will be 1 employee, Ms. Lorena, currently as the owner. There will also be a part-time groomer or bather, and there may possibly be 1 or 2 additional groomers added at some particular time. Hours of operation are Monday and Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, with potential to add more days in the future. So business definitely falling within the business hours during the business week. And this is a service that is offered by appointment only. So it is not a walk-up business, and thus again the need or the lack of a need for signage in this particular area. And this is a profession that my client's been in for approximately 9 years at this time, and she's now got the opportunity, after building up a clientele over a number of years and some trust, to strike out on her own and operate the business. I'm happy to answer any questions that the board might have or provide any additional information as necessary.
So when the dogs are dropped off, they're going to be dropped off and housed out in the fenced area? Is that my understanding? Till she's ready for them?
And Ms. Lorena is here with me. I'll do my best, and she can certainly fill in. If it isn't a holding area, so to speak, but it's basically a transfer area and a pickup and drop off area, since it's a by appointment only facility. It's not a situation where the animals are dropped off and left kind of stacked up 2 or 3 at a time. There may be some time where the animals would be in the exterior area, but certainly Megan can speak to that probably a little bit better.
You have to come up.
You'll have to come up.
Hi.
So there's extra parking.
Before you start,
Yes.
state your name and your address for the record, please.
Megan Yedenda, 6351 Oak Landon Road.
Thank you.
By the detached garage, there is back parking on the back street. So I was gonna have the clients park back there away from the main road, so it wouldn't cause any traffic problems. And they would just walk through my backyard onto my deck where they could go into my basement to be groomed. So the point of that is that they're, behind, away from the street, not causing any traffic in the front of the street.
So they're not going to be on the main level, they're going to be in the basement,
Right.
correct? Okay.
Right.
And if the people don't stay with them or you groom them, then are they kept in cages downstairs or?
No, there's half of the basement will just have like a gate in front of it, and they'll just be let loose.
They all have play day?
Yeah. It's a open facility that I'm at now, and that's how I like it. But hopefully, won't be many overlapping. I want it just to be one at a time, appointment only.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, is there any chance of barking or disturbing the neighbors in this operation?
I would hope in the basement, when it is appointment only, that they wouldn't be allowed to just sit and bark. They'll pretty much be in, be groomed, and leave. And then I plan on if I move out into the garage, to definitely take that into consideration. I have one neighbor closest to me, and the rest of the street, but I definitely plan to have, the building suited for any barking that would happen.
Okay, thank you.
Well, then you're not going to have any overnight. Okay,
No.
that leads to my question of, if she moves out to the garage, would it become an overnight thing like you were talking about?
No boarding, no overnight anything. It would be like an 8 to 4 or 5 type of thing.
And the hours of operation now are technically, there is none, you just go by appointments only. It's not necessarily an 8 to 4 type thing.
Right. I plan to work 4 days a week, and then possibly 5 if I need to. But right now I'm working 4 days a week, and I just plan to keep that schedule for now.
Okay. Counselor, I got a question for you. If we were to grant this and she does move out to the garage, I guess I'm concerned, like Mr. Couch, is the barking and things like that, disturbing neighbors and stuff like that, because right now it doesn't state that. Can we put that into the variance, or?
You mean amend the plan of operation to include that?
Yes.
I mean, that'd be the way to do it, I would expect.
Okay. Okay. At this time, okay.
How would you like that worded?
I don't know, how do you think we should? Or you think it's a concern?
Maybe to amend the plan of operation to include that if it's moved out to the garage, that she'll use sound barrier insulation or something to cut down on the sound.
Well, if it's during the day, it may not be so bad, but the way it sounds, it's just going to
I'm
be.
just worried about more the outside, that staging area, that if they're not attended to.
Well, let me. So basically, it sounds to me like someone. It's kind of like going to the beauty shop. You know, you don't have a whole bunch of people. Well, you may, but they drop the dog off. You bathe them. They pick them up. So the dogs. How long would the average dog be at your facility?
Probably, if some families have more than one dog, it would take, longer. It varies, small dog to big dog, but I really don't like the whole all-day thing. I think it's too stressful for the dogs, and you do run into problems like barking. So I really want to focus on making it a calmer and less stressful environment. And I really think that the getting in and out, not being rushed, but just not needlessly staying there is the key to that. So I really would not be wanting dogs there, piling up or being there for a long time.
Right.
And most of my clients want that.
I'm not against this at all. I'm more concerned if, once you said you expand, you go out into your garage, I'm looking at the neighborhood. Right now, it sounds like it's a perfect business. Not going to be that noisy or whatever, but I'm more concerned once you move to the garage, possibly. You're not planning on it, but maybe one day you may, correct?
Not planning on it anytime soon, but hopefully one day, yes.
Okay.
That is the goal.
I mean, I don't, go ahead.
Well, if you did move to the garage, so how many would that be? How would that change your operation from what it is now?
I would be able to have, 2 to 3 other groomers working for me that I train instead of just being me.
Okay, so it wouldn't really create a backlog of dogs. In fact, it might be the opposite because you have more people working on it.
Right.
Or it would, yeah. Okay.
So, yes, the whole dogs being there longer is not what I'm trying to do. So hopefully,
Right.
not hopefully.
It's not a boarding
No.
or a doggy daycare, none of that.
Either less work is getting them in and out. The longer they're there, you have to pay someone to walk the dogs. You have to do more cleaning. It's just more responsibility. So it is better to get them in and out.
In the operation, because she's doing this as an appointment only, and there are lots of businesses in this realm that they're open from X to Y, and if you're willing to drop them off at 8 or 9 in the morning and not pick them up till 5 or 6 in the evening, you can do that. But Megan's specifically trying to avoid that with the appointment by appointment only, and as Ms. Jaffe indicated there, as the operation grows, if it does, relatively, in a relatively conservative manner.
We want it to grow.
You've got, right, yeah. You'll still have a dog and a groomer, a dog and a groomer, a dog and a groomer. It won't create that backlog. So, which is something that I know she's really concerned about not doing.
So very seldom will the dog be in the pen outside in that holding area.
Yeah, that's a misunderstanding. I don't want the yard to be just like a free-for-all. They just walk through a gated area to my house. from the parking that I think is safer in the back of the garage. So
And
it won't be just, out there.
So-
It's just like a fence. in the
And
front.
maybe that would make me, it will not ever be a holding area for dogs.
And I probably created a misimpression. I said staging area, I'm meaning for the drop-off and the pickup, where the
Okay, well,
customers will
that-
pull in and then park and then take their dogs inside.
Okay, that makes me,
Yeah,
because that's
that was
really
my
where
fault.
the barking could be outside. Yeah.
Right.
I guess I'm looking at the future. I'm hoping her business does grow. Like she says, she's going to have employees then. So then you have to worry about employees parking. And, the drop off, am I making sense what I'm saying? So I don't know if this is a concern of the board or just go ahead and grant it.
Well, looking at the pictures, though, and I actually drove by the other day,
That was good.
and so how many parking spaces? It looks like you've got, so if you, let us say that you've got a double, do you use your garage for your vehicles? Can you park your cars in your garage, or is it full of stuff?
It's full of stuff right now.
Okay, like many garages.
I was planning on the front by, the front of the house, that big parking lot, that could be mine and employee parking, and that way the back area could be available for the clients to drop off, and they wouldn't overlap.
It
I
looks
really
like,
don't want, I'm sorry.
it looks like you could get, it's hard to tell, this photo may be distorted, but at least 4, if not more cars in that or the blacktop on
Yes.
65th Street. And then if you have the drop-off area in the back, it looks like you'd have plenty,
Okay.
I would think.
Yeah, I agree with you. It looks like there's plenty of parking.
That looks good.
Well, it's a pull-through garage. So, okay.
Okay.
And you see the access from the rear,
Yeah.
which has got what I referred to wrongly as the staging area, but the drop-off and pickup area for customers. And then, yes, in the front there, you'd have with the large asphalt area in front of the double garage, significant additional parking, or significant parking, and then
Right, this-
that wouldn't even be occupied by the customers.
Yes, I know there can be quite a few cars parked in this area. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay. Thank you. So is there any remonstrators for or against the petition? We'll hear from DMD.
Thank you. We are recommending approval of the petition, subject to the plan of operation that has been submitted, I guess as amended today. When we looked at this and looked at the plan of operation, to us it seemed to be, although not a specifically listed home occupation, it seemed very similar to the intensity one would expect from a home occupation with respect to the number of employees, by being appointment only, by not having a sign, and of course, the main thing, having the business operator reside at the dwelling, which makes a big difference in terms of the impact of a business within a residential area in that the primary use of the dwelling is still as a dwelling. Then also considering the fact that this was the southernmost residential dwelling on Oak Landon before you began the commercial development towards Pendleton Pike. We felt that it was a reasonable transitional use for this particular site, and so for those reasons, we are recommending approval, again, subject to the plan of operation as has been amended today.
Any questions for Larry?
Yeah, doesn't the comp plan call for Oak Landing Road to be mixed-use village or
Village mixed
something?
use, right, yeah.
And
it
that
kind of
seems
plays
ideal
into
for that.
kind of idea as well.
Is that still in the, is that still,
I think so. I think it's still the last comp plan.
Right.
okay. Any questions for Larry? Thank you. We'll hear from the City of Lawrence, William Anthony.
Good evening. City of Lawrence would recommend approval of this request as well, basically adopting what Mr. Callaway's findings were in his staff report.
Okay.
Okay.
Any
Thank you.
questions for the city? Okay, thank you. Petitioner, you're able to give a 5-minute rebuttal if you want.
None necessary, other than I do agree and appreciate the question about the comp plan and the village transition as recommended by the comp plan in that area. I did have a question. Larry said, he maybe made reference to an amendment. I know we kind of talked about that, but I didn't hear any specific amendments required after some of the clarifications we answered some of the questions to the plan of operation.
Yeah, I was satisfied.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it
I have
was
nothing.
That transition, I was confused, but
Yeah, I'm good at that. Just ask my wife. We have nothing else then on that.
Okay, the board ready to vote at this time?
We are.
The board will be voting on 16 LUV 13, a variance of use of the consolidated zoning and subdivision ordinance to provide for a dog grooming operation. The board has unanimously granted your petition. There you go, sir.
Thank you for your time and opportunity to present as always. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear 16 LSV 14, 7502 East 56th Street, variance of development standard of the consolidated zoning and subdivision ordinance to provide for additional wall sign totaling 109 square feet, exceeding 3% of the south front facade and the 75 square feet permitted by petition 09 LSV 07. And who's here for that petition?
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
good evening.
My name is Claude Jones, address 7502 East 56th Street, Lawrence, Indiana. I'm here tonight to request a variance of development standards to provide additional wall signs totaling 109 feet. The ordinance currently allows for 3% of the buildings to be used for signage. Our request will allow for 5%. In 2009, this board approved a variance request petition 09 LSV 07 for 2 signs on the south facade of the building. Since then, our lodge, Captain Prather, has acquired the building from the original owners, Mystic Circle, and they have moved out of the building. The signage for Mystic Circle has been removed, and the only sign currently on the building is a Prather sign, measures 37 feet. Our request is to allow 2 additional signs, each measuring 36 square feet for a total of 109 square feet, to be added to the south facade of the building. These signs are recognized in Prather York Rite in the Lawrence chapter of the Eastern Stars, which are opinion dependent bodies of our organization. Included in your package is a rendering of the sign company showing what the signs would look at once they're installed. If you have any questions, I would love to answer.
Well, these signs are not going to be internally lit.
No
Just-
illumination, no. That's all inside.
And what are they going to be made out of?
I'm assuming like a PVC type, that's probably what they make a sign out
A
of.
plastic or something like that?
Yeah. One's a big UK there.
Just kidding, right?
Yeah.
Okay, any questions for the petitioner? Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any remonstrators for or against the petition? We'll hear from Larry Callaway from DMD.
Yeah, thank you. We do support this petition and recommend approval of the increased sign area. As was indicated, there was a previous variance that allowed for a about 75 square feet in 2009. This would allow for 109 square feet, providing for two sort of logo signs on the wall, and would provide for about 5% of the facade to be with signage, which is still a very small amount. The normal requirement is 3% in the special use district. The area is generally surrounded by special use districts because of the schools in the area. And we don't see the sign having any impact on the area. And so we do support the petition.
Any questions for DMD? Thank you. We'll hear from the City of Lawrence, William Anthony.
City of Lawrence would recommend approval of this request as well by adopting the finding in Mr. Callaway's staff report.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Board's ready to vote on 16 LSV 14, variance of development standards of the Consolidated Zoning and Subdivision Ordinance to provide for additional wall signs totaling 109 square feet, exceeding 3% of the south front facade, and the 75 square foot permitted by petition 09 LSV 07. The board has unanimously granted your petition.
Thank you very much.
We will now hear 16 LUSV 15, 8103 East 45th Street, variance of use and development standard of the Consolidating Zoning and Subdivision Ordinance to provide for distribution and storage facility and to provide for 0-foot setback along portions of the northeast, west, and south property lines.
Dave, before you start, I don't think you were sworn in.
No, it was not.
Okay.
That is correct. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Answer with I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Chairperson Lytle, members of the board, David Kingen with offices at 618 East Market Street in Indianapolis, here before you this evening on 2016 UVL 015, property located at 8103 East 45th Street and previously also part of 8140 Pendleton Pike. We do have a special request before we get started. We did have an issue with the notification, the mailing. We did send out the notice and posted notice on the property as provided by the rules of procedure, but we discovered, and that was 24 days prior to today's hearing. However, we realized when one of those was returned that we had inserted the wrong date on the notice, November 11th instead of November 15th. We quickly sent out a second notice with the correct date on it, and that was on November 4th, 11 days prior to today's hearing, short of the required notification in your rules of procedure, but still sufficient by state law, which requires 10 days notice. We feel with the first notice and our name on the notice, no one had called, and again, the notice was on the property sufficiently, and again, we had no inquiries. We did have an inquiry then after we sent out the second notice from a Courtney Nygaard representing O'Brien Cope with Deutsche Bank, the owner of 8118 East 45th Street, a property to the northwest of our site. And she indicated when we explained the merits of the petition and the confusion over the notification that she had no objections with us proceeding with today's hearing. So we would request that the board grant a waiver of the second notice that we sent.
We did.
Okay.
We did that at the very beginning. We approved that.
I'm sorry that I went into the long
That's
explanation.
okay.
Very
That's
good.
okay.
I don't think you were here yet.
No, okay.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Very good. Thank you very much. I'll go into the merits of the petition then. This is the property that many of you may remember as Kerman's Fine Flooring Company, or today Benny's Carpeting. That's the property at 8140 Pendleton Pike. However, my client is hopeful of acquiring the building at the rear, the large industrial warehouse type building for his business called Circle City Deli Provisions, Inc. And again, as you indicated, it's a variance of use of the commercial zoning ordinance and a variance of development standards. As the staff report indicates, and I'm not going to repeat many of the comments that the staff report includes, but the comment I would make is that it has appeared that this property has been used as a warehouse for many, many years. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the property, but the property on 45th is an industrial-type looking building. There's 7 overhead doors on the property, so it's much more suited for industrial or a distribution facility and warehousing than it is for commercial use. We also have filed a request for variances of development standards. The new Indy rezone that was adopted April 1 of this year requires side yards, landscape side yards, and if you know, again, the property well, it is almost paved in its entirety. It does have a little bit of landscaping and grass along the frontage along 45th Street, but primarily the site is narrow and irregularly configured, and therefore all the paving that is in place is needed for the maneuvering and trucks that will visit the facility. Mr. Ferrara has indicated to me that there are 9 full-time employees that will be at the Circle City facility, 3 part-time employees, and we feel that, again, this is an excellent use of a commercial industrial building that fronts on 45th Street. Even though it will remain Zone C5, it will not be as intense as many of the uses that you would find in the C5 property. The only other improvement that has been made on the property, the property was recently platted, and there is a public sidewalk along the 45th Street frontage along the northern part of our property. Again, we'd be glad to answer any questions. We would appreciate the board's consideration and favorable approval of our variance of use and development standards. We would ask that you incorporate our findings of fact as a matter of record. We'd be glad to
Okay.
answer any questions.
My question is, are they operating now?
No.
Do they have their, okay, they're going to.
Circle City would be the purchaser of the property and move into the warehouse facility, yes.
But it's no new building? I mean, you're trying to make the existing building fit the latest codes?
The property will remain Zone C5. As the staff report indicates, the warehouse and distribution facility is not permitted in C5. And so we need the variance of use to allow this type of business to move in and occupy the
But
premises.
it's an existing building, you're not making any additions
That's correct.
or anything?
Right.
No,
Maybe
it
I-
is an existing building, that is correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appear to have missed something here, but, so what is the business going to be?
Circle City Deli Provisions. It's a distribution and storage facility for deli provisions.
So you mean like equipment?
No, like food.
Food, okay.
Yeah, different types of food
All right.
that would be distributed out of the
Okay.
facility.
So it won't be a carpeting place
No, no.
anymore?
Benny's carpeting would remain in the front.
And they would be in the back?
And they would be in the back.
Okay.
And it's Circle City?
Correct. Circle City Deli Provisions, Inc.
Okay. So how many employees are they going to have? 9?
9 full-time and 3 part-time.
Are there going to be semis in and out of there?
There will be box trucks that would come to and from the premises. There would be semis coming very irregular. Steve, you may want to.
Just give your name and address. Steve Ferrara, 12462 Norman Place, Fishers, Indiana. Presently, we have a semi come to the facility once a week. We presently have a building around the corner. This is an expansion of my business to a different building. So semi comes once a week, drops off
I
product.
heard your, okay.
I'm a little bit concerned because I remember when there would be frequent trucks, there were problems with the residents across the street because of Benny's Carpet. They would just cause problems to the grassy area. I had a constituent who complained about that a lot. But I can understand his problem. So when I hear, that's a really small street. And then you hear talk about a semi coming once a week, which it just sounds, it just kind of worries me a little bit as far as the neighbors, people who've lived there a long time. Is a church there? I don't know at all, but it just seems maybe not totally compatible, although there have been trucks before, so,
I would imagine that the carpet company had semis come in more often than once a week, and they were already using the facility.
Yeah, because it was
That's the
Kerman's
impression I got.
carpet coming in and out of there. Am I not correct? Wasn't it Kerman's?
It was Kerman's.
I mean, I am concerned. I'm just like Celeste. There is a parking issue right now over there, technically, because you got the court system over there at 4455 McCoy Street. That's why I'm asking about the employees, about how many cars are going to be parked there. You can't park along 45th Street
There's plenty of parking on
on
facility.
your property, right?
Right.
That's
And to clarify, I have 9 full-time employees and 3 part-time, but they're not at the facility, most of them.
okay.
Most of them are out in the field. There will probably be 4 to 5 cars there at any given time, maximum.
And so, what is this warehouse going to be used for again?
It's going to house deli meats and cheeses.
and then you would deliver them to different,
Yes, yes. We
So-
would store them in there with a big refrigerated cooler.
There's no coolers in there now.
There is no coolers in there now.
And where's your other location?
It is on 4810 Industrial Parkway, which is back behind in that little industrial park.
Back where Ferrari used to be.
Yeah, it's the old Ferrari Electric. We've been
Oh,
operating
okay.
out of there for about 5 years.
Were you Boar's Head, or is
Yes,
that one of
Boar's
your
Head.
brands?
Yes, Boar's Head.
Oh,
sorry.
okay, I know your old location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
did you bring samples?
Everybody asks.
Hey,
I don't think that's
Hey,
going to be an old location. You're going to keep both, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
no, but I just,
Correct.
yeah,
Well, Boar's Head goes to market through independent distributors like myself. So my company is Circle City Deli, but I distribute Boar's Head deli meats and cheeses.
okay, yeah, I'm familiar
And I
with
think
you.
that, I would assume the neighbors are, kind of used to us being back around there with the trucks. I mean, our trucks are well kept and
Yeah, I remember when you went in the first time, or the first location.
And there's no issues?
No, we were pretty excited, but we didn't get samples for the
No,
record.
oh, you did?
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to bring samples.
You're not.
It would look bad.
Let me do add that as to the intensity of the use, that again, the property is zone C5 presently and will remain zone C5. So we feel like this use is much less intense than a auto sales lot or a auto repair shop, something that
Oh,
would be
I'm,
have a great deal of traffic in and out, retail traffic in and out. So I think the limited number of employees and the truck traffic should be minimal compared to what could be on the property.
I would agree with that. We have plenty of C5, as Bill probably knows.
but I'm like, again, going back to Jaffe's the issues, that area over there with the parking and stuff, that, I guess that's where my concern is too.
I think that's just life. It is C5.
True.
Like you said, there'll be fewer semis than Benny's Carpet.
That is true.
I would imagine,
Yeah.
imagine, yes.
Because they had a lot of big semis going in and out of there. Okay. You answered my questions. We'll now hear from, are there any remonstrators for or against the petition? We'll hear from Larry Calloway, DMD.
Thank you. We are recommending approval of this petition. When we looked at this petition, we considered the fact that this building, which has gradually expanded over the last several decades with multiple loading docks, is basically a warehouse building. The only other, and it's either more suited for the type of use they're proposing or some type of really large automobile repair facility, collision center or something like that, which in our mind would with the noise associated with that type of operation could be a lot more detrimental to not just the surrounding residences but the surrounding businesses. So we thought it was a reasonable request considering the type of building and that there actually is a hardship because of the building that's on the site, that it is more suited for a storage type of operation. But at the same time, because of the odd configuration of the lot and it's not really suited for a very tractor-trailer intense type of operation, because many of the overhead doors wouldn't be accessible by tractor trailers. They'd only be accessible by box trucks. So we felt for that reason as well that it was a reasonable request. And so the only other thing we thought would be helpful would be to limit the hours of operation. I actually had written in the staff report 7 to 7. They proposed 7 to 6, so that's even better. We think that's reasonable and will help alleviate any impacts to the surrounding area. And so, subject to those hours of operation in the plan of operation, we are recommending approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Would it be inappropriate for us to downsome, or is there anything we can do in this body to lower the C5 zoning underlying the variance, I guess you'd say?
Well, you could ask them if they would commit to eliminate some of the C5 uses that you might find objectionable, or as a commitment. That's a way to.
We can make it specific to this tenant, because I was just asking her, so that we wouldn't get an automotive place or some of these other things in. Just make it specific to the tenant itself.
Well, that wouldn't.
That doesn't change.
That doesn't change the uses that are allowed.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying you could, if they're willing, they can commit to no automobile repair or no auto sales lot, or if there's anything else that you might find objectionable.
There's not much room for auto sales.
No.
No,
Well-
just a thought, I just need C5.
The auto sales lots I've seen, they don't need a lot of room. They'll stuff them in there. Well, you got a whole building you can stuff them in, so, I mean. Yeah, so anyway.
Okay, no questions? Thank you, Larry.
Sure.
We'll hear from the City of Lawrence. William Anthony.
City would recommend approval of this request subject to the plan of operation contained within the petition. And we, just adopting the City of Indianapolis's, Mr. Callaway's findings and his staff report as our rationale as well for recommending approval.
Okay. Thank you. Any
Thank you.
questions for the city? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Petition.
Thank you. Only briefly, we would be willing to amend our, I guess it wouldn't be a plan of operation, but make the additional two commitments that there would be no auto repair on the facility or no auto sales, as long as this petitioner is there, and we'll be glad to reduce that to writing and file that with the board.
Okay,
That's neat,
okay,
thank you.
thank you. Board ready to vote? The board's going to be voting on 16 LUSV 15, variance of use and development standard of the consolidated zoning and subdivision ordinance to provide for a distribution and storage facility, to provide for a 0-foot setback along with positions on the north, east, west, south, and property lines with the amended commitments of, what is it? To this tenant only and no auto repair / sales, correct? Board has unanimously granted your petition. Thank you. If there's no other business, the Lawrence Board of Zoning Appeals is adjourned. Thank you.